Good evening everybody, this is Stephen Howson, this is Full Time Devils and this is tomorrow's Transfers Today, the video where we give you all the lowdown and everything that's going on with Manchester United with the no bullshit look at what is happening in the transfer window. Let me just get the comments up on this little one here so I can see what you guys are saying and I'll give you what the agenda is going to be for tonight. So then, the agenda that we are going to be talking about tonight is 200 million to spend is what some financial experts think Jose Mourinho has got. Then we're going to be talking about Gea. Then we're going to be talking about Verratti, Bale, Henderson, Sandro and Griezmann. So let's get fired straight into them then. So the first one that we are going to be talking about, this comes out of the Star and they're saying Jose Mourinho will effectively have 200 million to spend in the transfer window. That's according to football finance expert Kieran Maguire. I think they could certainly match last summer where they spent 200 million. Jose's already started moaning about the shortcomings in the squad and being forced to play Lukaku because Rashford and Martial haven't delivered. To a certain extent, he's got a point. So he would have gone back to the board to get some financial guarantees before signing a new deal. Expect another big summer of activity. I think Kieran's guessing, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. We have no idea. Look at the evolution of not just the transfer record, but look at the evolution of spend right across the Premier League. Look at the evolution of spend and that arms race that's going on inside the top 4 and the top 6 at the moment. I honestly think that 200 million could be surpassed. When they're talking about that Gareth Bale might cost 195 million, considering the shortcomings that we've got across the rest of our squad, if we only spend that sort of cash, that's one player. That's not enough players. So I think it could be more than that. Also in the same article here in the Daily Star, now, they've got a bit of a top 10 players that United should be looking at. One of them is Alvaro Odriozola, and that's a right-back who's in the Spanish squad. And see, this is where they're showing up their knowledge. They're saying a surprise call-up to the Spain squad for the World Cup. The Sociedad right-back, he's 22 and will be a good long-term replacement for Valencia. He's not a surprise call-up. He's absolutely mint and quite rightly ousted Bellerin from the squad. He's amazing. And this is a lad that I put in one of my shortlist videos as well because he is a definite candidate. But I don't think that you're going to be signing him since you've just signed a lot. That's madness. But anyway, in the rest of this article, they're saying they've got bet stars in. Obviously, you've got to take a pinch of salt what the bookies are saying. The bookies are trying to get you to bet on these things. He said Arnautovic is priced at 5-4, down from 2-1 to join United after he refused to rule out a move to Old Trafford in an interview with Sky Austria. It's not what he said. It's not what he said. He didn't refuse to rule out a move. He wasn't like, he was like, I got a contract. It was the same non-answer. It was a non-answer, man. It was the same non-answer that every single player gives whenever they're asked this sort of bullshit. They're at a World Cup. Just leave them to it. Well, you know, what are we going to do? Anyway. Arnautovic for 60 million does not excite me in the slightest. If Arnautovic was going to come in, free transfer, couple of mil, if that was where we was going to spend 25 or more % on our budget, then I think that would have been a major, major issue. But if we was going to get him cheaper than that, I think we could do it. It's not the most obvious signing as far as I can see. Maybe Jose Mourinho knows different. I'm sure he knows a hell of a lot more about his team than I do. But on the face of things, it's not the sort of signing that I think we need. And it's certainly not the one that I think the fans want. At 60 million for a 29-year-old, this isn't Robin Van Persie in his peak getting him from Arsenal. This is nothing like that. This is going to be a backup centre-forward. 60 million. Next one that we're going to be talking about then is David De Gea. Now, Real Madrid have just announced that the current Spanish boss, don't ask me to pronounce his name correctly, Julian Lopetegui, is taking over for Real Madrid on a 3-year contract. So obviously the links with Real Madrid and David De Gea are about to kick back into full speed ahead because they're going to be spending the next 4 weeks together and obviously everyone's like, he's going to be in his ear, isn't he? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Bit of a weird thing to announce prior to the tournament, don't you think? Unless they was thinking, look, Spain are probably going to get knocked out early. You don't want to announce this on a negative. Do you want to announce it on a positive before going into the tournament? It's a weird one, isn't it? I'll come to the comments and see what you guys are saying as well. Give me a decent question to read out. Don't just write names. That's not going to get read. I can't completely rubbish any sort of move from Real Madrid for David De Gea. And that is annoying. Because I'd love to be able to sit here and just be like, yeah, sling it. But I can't because I actually think there's always going to be something in this. And that's the nightmare. Next one that we've got for you then, so it's from Sports Witness, and they're calling out the bullshit as they usually do. That's why we like Sports Witness. And they're saying United considering an option to sign a player with an agent pushing for a transfer, which is according to Calcio Mercato. And they're saying that they've come up with a story on Tuesday saying that the player's agent, this is Verratti that we're talking about here, Mino Raiola, has been offering the midfielder around Europe. Now that is well easy to believe. Mino Raiola, been on the phone, finding out who wants to give him a big fat payday this summer because it's been, I don't know, about 2 weeks since he got his last mega fat payday. So he's looking for his next move, who he thinks can offer him some big bucks for someone. Verratti's a player that probably has got a good move in him at the age that he is at the moment. So this is a move that you go, yeah, I can logically see this making sense. Now, the same Barcelona have said no. Real Madrid have opened doors. What does that mean? Juventus are waiting, and United are considering the chance. They've basically just used a load of different adjectives for nobody actually doing anything about anything in this, apart from Barcelona who've said no. But it's another one that you can't completely rule out. Mino Raiola, the relationship that he's got with Woodward, where he probably bullies Woodward into signing his players, is one that you go, could happen, couldn't it? I think in terms of how Verratti would fit into the United system, I don't think he would fit into a Jose Mourinho system. That's not to say that I don't think Ed Woodward would just sign him and be like, I got you a new shiny thing. And Jose's like, fucking hell do you want me to do with this guy? He's like 3'3". I've just signed a short-ass midfielder. I'm not going to play two when I'm going to be losing. Well, essentially, we've lost Zlatan already, but we're going to be losing Marouane Fellaini as well. You can't turn a team of giants into a team of midgets. Certainly not in Jose Mourinho's watch, I don't think. Verratti, that's not. This isn't me giving you a slight on Verratti. I think Verratti's an excellent footballer and would boost any team, but I don't think he's going to suit the way Jose Mourinho wants to play his football at all. And that's not to say like Fred's short, but Fred's combative. Verratti's he's like a beautiful player. He's not combative. He's not aggressive. He's just a real class sort of act. He's not that sort of player. He's not an angry, aggressive dude. So again, can't rule it out. Raiola loves a payday. Another one from Sports Witness saying Jose Mourinho contacts player personally to get him to sign for United. And they've absolutely tore into Don Ballon, so it's something I can get behind here. Now I'm saying before Don Ballon became the undisputed Spanish nonsense rumour champions, there was Punta Pelota, which I like the name of, that sounds pretty good. And also El Chiringuito, which sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? Or a Mexican dish, one of the two. So it says Punta Pelota seems to have died away, but El Chiringuito seems to continue on its path, claiming all sorts of things and hoping that they come true. Sounds like a proper fucking Spanish metro, doesn't it here? El Metro. So it's basically a TV show, which is like a bit of a joke in Spain, by the sounds of what they're saying here. They says it's not really an equivalent in England. Chiringuito has several journalists who have made themselves celebrities, and they compete to come up with the biggest claim of the evening. The camera dramatically focuses in, the journalist shares their information, while in the background there's sound effects. It sounds like absolute madness. There's a little clip on there on the article on Sports Witness where they've embedded it, so you can go and check it out for yourself. And it says that Jose Mourinho has told Gareth Bale that he'll win the Ballon d'Or by joining Manchester United. That's what they reckon is said. Now maybe he would. Maybe it's not the craziest thing that someone could compare. I don't know if Jose Mourinho would chat that much shit to someone. That seems like a proper... Seems like something Brendan Rodgers would say, doesn't it, rather than Jose Mourinho. If you had to put that quote to that manager, Brendan Rodgers is the guy that you're going finding and going, let me go and stick that right there. Not really Jose Mourinho kind of talk, that is. He doesn't usually do hyperbole like that. Next one. Manchester United goalkeeper makes U-turn on transfer decision. Hold the bus. Fucking MEN, you nearly had us there, didn't you? You nearly had us, you dirty bastards. You almost had us. Talking about Dean Henderson here. This is the definition of clickbait. Manchester United goalkeeper makes U-turn on transfer. It makes you think something's happened. Because obviously, Big Dave is the guy that's the transfer everyone wants to know about. And then you get in there and you go, you motherfuckers, you're talking about Dean Henderson. The MEN used to do this as well. they did this a couple of times with a picture of Sergio Romero or somebody else that we've had. Victor Valdez, I think they might have done it with. Manchester United keeper secures move away from Old Trafford, and you're like, whoa, oh, it's Victor Valdez. Go fuck yourselves. How about that, dicks? So, MEN, doing what the MEN does, unfortunately nowadays, since David Meek moved on, it was a fantastic newspaper. Now it is the absolute gutter trash. And they're saying, Manchester United goalkeeper Dean Henderson will sign a new deal at the club, according to reports. The England under-21 international is one of 6 who's been offered a new deal by United, but has yet to agree terms. Mentions that he's impressed on loan at Shrewsbury. It says Arsenal and Chelsea are reportedly interested in him, but he's made a U-turn and he's going to sign a new deal. It also mentions there's been a link with United to Bayern Munich star Arturo Vidal, but then the linking United to Vidal by him saying like he likes Flamengo and he said he wouldn't mind playing for them at one day and then they'll win everything in Brazil if they do. But these dirty bastards. Kidding me in. Next one that we've got then is Duncan Castles doing what Duncan Castles does, and that's be Jose Mourinho's mouthpiece. And it says United have refused to meet Juventus asking price for a Brazilian international. I mean, that's pushing it a little bit, isn't it? They've not took him to the World Cup. Sandro, although the Premier League club remains interested, United aren't prepared to pay the transfer fee of 60 million for a player who Juventus have informally placed in the transfer market. Obviously, there's someone whose future is up in the air. Again, this figure of 60 million. Has 60 million become the new 40, which is the new 30, which was the new 20, which was the new 12? Like, 60 million just seems to be a figure that people are just throwing around all over the place at the moment, doesn't it? Which is a mad figure to be thrown around. Like, what are you doing? So, it's basically that the whole basis of the article is that United don't want to pay 60 million for him. If there is other players that we can look at, Philip Max, Augsburg, that would be definitely one to be worth looking at in that kind of price range. There's plenty of other left backs that you don't need to spend 60 million on, I am sure. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in the comments. United to seal a 200 million deal for Luis Figo, says Gil and Balaguer. We're going to get onto Balaguer in a minute. Has anyone seen how many Sporting players are free agents? Yes. Now, if you've not looked into this story, now what happened is, I think they failed to qualify for Champions League. I think that might be, I might have that detail wrong, but it was something along the lines of they didn't qualify for Champions League or something along those lines. And all of the Sporting Lisbon Ultras came to training. I think they threatened players. I don't think they actually attacked any players, but I think they threatened players and staff, and I think they smashed up some of the cars. And on the basis of this, loads of the Sporting players, I think there's like half a dozen of them, have managed to get themselves out of their contract. Now, I haven't read enough into the deal to be able to tell you what happens with those contracts if you're just able to go and sign those players on a free. On the basis of it, you are, but I would be certain that if you just take that player and try and register him, then there'll probably be some sort of tribunal fee set, and they would probably look at current transfer fees for players of similar sort of, domestic and international experience. So you still end up paying like pretty hefty money for them. I can't possibly imagine that the players are able to just rip their contracts up and go walk elsewhere and there be no issues whatsoever. So on the faces of this, yeah, you've got Carvalho, you've got Martins, you've got a couple of banging players that if you could get them for free, they would be going all around Europe and touting themselves out to the highest bidder or the sexiest club. Like, Real Madrid are interested. Yeah, we'll go Real Madrid, mate. I don't know enough about this, the intricacies of this deal, to know if we could just be like, phone them up and be like, get on a plane, lad, come to Carrington. I don't know what the case is on that one. Right then, Griezmann, last one that we're going to be talking about. So Griezmann come out and said, my future will be decided before the World Cup. And then it seems like the press conference was set up for him to talk about his future prior to the World Cup. Starts in 2 days. Now's the time, son. So basically, he gets in a press conference. He's asked about his future. And he goes, today's not the day to talk about my future. You utter dick tease. It's not the time or the place. Now, he says he's already made a decision about his future, but I'm not going to speak about it today. Guy knows how to drag a story out, doesn't he? Should work in Hollywood. Jesus Christ. So, Spanish football expert, Guillem Balaguer. Guy have lost La Liga rights as well, so I have no idea what Balaguer is going to do for a job now. Hilariously. He said he sees Griezmann's move as similar to last summer, when United had a deal in place to sign him, but he opted to stay at Atletico. How is it going to be similar to this? So he says, well, number one, he's made a decision. Wow, did you arrive to that after he announced that he's made a decision? Number two, Barcelona think they've convinced him, but number three, Atletico Madrid believe they've convinced him as well. Nobody knows what decision he's made, so whichever way, Antoine Greizmann will win because he will go to a top team. But it's surprising and leaving a bad image and a bad taste in the mouth the way he's gone about it. He promised everything would be sorted before the World Cup. It's not going to be the case. He did it the previous summer where he wanted to go United and everything was agreed, decided to stay. We're going to have to wait for his decision. That's what he's saying. That's what Balaguer is saying. Griezmann's saying absolutely jack shit. Are United in for him again? I think in July his price goes down to 100 million euros as a release fee. In this market, that's basically a free transfer, in it. When you've got the likes of Bale going for 200 million and fullbacks and Arnautovic going for 60 million, 80 million for Antoine Greizmann. Ed Woodward, if you've not got that in cash on a table ready to go, then you're fucking up this summer big time. That's a transfer United should make happen if that's what Jose Mourinho wants to happen. I can't imagine that he wouldn't want Griezmann in a team. My only issue is that I think Sanchez was the Griezmann style player. And they're not the same player. But there's players and moulds and roles within a team that are to be fulfilled. And I think Sanchez was the guy to fulfill the role, whatever that role was, that Griezmann was going to fill. And now I do actually think he is probably looking at a Mandzukic or a Benzema or a Arnautovic as a different style of forward to give him options in different scenarios. And I think Rashford will be the third or fourth choice in all of that lot. Let's see what you guys are saying. Balaguer taking a new job at El Metro. Oh, yes! I didn't see that one coming. Beautiful. Well done. Did I see what Deschamps said that Griezmann is staying in Spain? I did not, mate. But if the two options that are on the table are Atletico or Barcelona, both of them are currently in Spain, so that would make a lot of sense. Ty says, I think we should sign Ndidi. What do I think? I would like Ndidi. Indeed, I would. How much money is better connection? What? We got afraid of getting Griezmann. Maybe we did. United are to sell De Gea. Or if United are to sell De Gea, they would need a replacement. Who would it be? Butland, Alisson or Oblak or a cash deal? I wouldn't want Navas. I don't think he's at that level. Oblak is the one that is the only one that can hold the torch to Big Dave. Outside of that, I'm a big fan of Farman. I think he could do a massive job, to be honest with you. Would I like Pereira back at United? Yeah, see what happens. Let's play him in pre-season, see how he looks. Is Longley a good centre-back option? Yes, absolutely. What do I honestly think about Lukaku? Is he good enough? Fucking right he is, mate. Are you mad? Wanted that guy for a long old time, and I thought he was excellent last season. Was in with a shout of Player of the Year. Yes, he dipped a little bit in form towards the middle of the season, but I think he's grown as a player. He's exceeded what a lot of people thought he could do in a United shirt, and wait and see what happens next season. I'll be shocked if he's fit for the whole season and doesn't score 30 goals or more all competitions. How good is Henderson? It's hard to say on goalkeepers, and it's hard to say on goalkeepers that have been on loan at Shrewsbury, to be honest with you. I wouldn't put him above Andreas Pereira, and I wouldn't put him above Romero, so I think it would make a lot of sense for him to either go on loan again or to move out permanently. Does Blin still play for United? Technically, yes. Realistically, probably not. What was the decision for Griezmann? He's not telling us. If United go in for Bale, do I think Real Madrid would ask for De Gea? I do think he'll eventually leave. Maybe. It's the problem, isn't it? When you go into negotiations with him, he's always there. He's always something that they're going to try and stick onto the table as part of the negotiation, you would assume. Should we focus completely on replacing our back four? I don't think the whole back four needs replacing unless Jose decides that he thinks Bailly can't be trusted and he wants to get rid of him. I think there's definitely an element of needing at least three of a new back four, though. Absolutely, mate, yeah. Kalili on a free transfer, would I take him? I'd go pick him up and carry on with me back from Italy today, if you want me to. Yes, it's exactly what we need. Longley will be perfect for United. A little on the young side, but whatever. When will Angel Gomez be promoted? I reckon you'll see him on a tour. And it's up to him then. How much would I spend on players this season? Whatever you have to. Not... Here's the thing. Obviously, I'm sitting here moaning about paying 60 million for Sandro and 60 million for Arnautovic. I'm going on the basis that we've probably got 200 to 250 to spend. And when you look at if Jose Mourinho is chasing this superstar like a Bale or a Neymar or a Griezmann, that's going to eat up almost all of that. But that for me isn't what Manchester United need. If I'm looking at United, I'm saying, what does this team actually need? I go, we absolutely need a left back. We arguably need a right back because I know we've signed Delo. I don't think he's a first choice. I think he's backup. I think he's replacing what Damian offered to us last season. He might replace somebody by the end of the season, either as a first choice left back or a first choice right back. But I don't think he's been signed as that. He's not been signed as a starter. So I definitely think we need a starter in. I think we definitely need at least one centre half. Depends on what Jose sees Bale, because obviously these injury problems, he might not fancy him. And there's African Cup of Nations, I think, coming again in January 2019. That's this season. That might be another issue for Jose. So he might be like, cut my losses with him, you know. And I arguably think we need some sort of winger that gives you a different option now. That might be what Arnautovic is offering. But at 60 million, I'm not seeing good value there. Absolutely not. Would I sign Vardy as a second option? No. What are my thoughts on Lindelof? I think he really deserved the opportunity towards the end of last season. There was issues when we signed him. I think he's fixed some of those. I think he's working towards becoming a more complete defensive defender. He's very good with the ball at his feet, which is something that you need as a centre-half in a modern game. And I think he was worthy of a starting place, possibly even in the final, to be honest with you. Hope Luke Shaw stays. He's still young. I don't think he's going to be honest. Would I sell De Gea for crazy money? Here's the thing. If you can get Oblak in for half as much as what De Gea is going to go for, yeah, that's a good move. United don't typically do good business sense like that. Be able to replace someone for a lot less than what we signed someone for. It's usually us getting rinsed on getting rid of someone and then getting rinsed on buying someone in as well. So that's not usually the way it goes down for us, is it? Gelson Martins would be a right winger if he's coming for free. Is that an option? Like I said earlier, there might be complications with that. I just don't know enough about that situation to be able to give you an answer, to be honest. Would I swap Marshall for Griezmann? It's not whether I would swap it. Would they swap Marshall for Griezmann? I think they'd probably want a lot of loot the other way, wouldn't they? Righty, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to come and check out the debate tomorrow at lunchtime, where we will be talking about how Manchester United are going to line up with Delo and Fred in the starting 11, if they're in the starting 11. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe if you're brand new around here. Give it a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Laters.